2024 is looking to be a pretty wild ride, and I think we're going to see a lot of people change their lifestyles. I think there's going to be a shift in how we spend money as a society, and I think there's going to be a lot of impact in every person this year because of the economy, especially because it's an election year and all the crazy things that are happening in the world as a snowball effect since 2020. I feel like 2020 just caused this really crazy snowball effect, and we're in some weird alternative timeline. But um, the purpose of this video is that I wanted to go over the recent mass layoffs within the last few weeks. These layoff stories have been going on since the beginning of 2023, and unfortunately, it seems like things are ramping up in the layoff story um, in the beginning of 2024. And if you've been following any um, technology news at all, or just general headlines, you probably know that there's been a lot of layoffs this week, and I'm going to cover it and just give my quick opinion. So the first one is Riot Games. If you're not familiar with Riot Games, they make the League of Legends game. They make the Valorant and a lot of esports competitive games. Personally, I haven't played a lot of their games because I'm not too much into the esports genre. I prefer to play like Spider-Man or God of War, or just like single player games, because I just don't have enough time to take in another crazy hobby that will take up a lot of my time, but that's a different story. Anyways, Riot Games laid off approximately 11% of their workforce, which is equivalent to 530 people. Now, it's crazy because you would assume that Riot Games is making a lot of profit because, they sell a lot of things in their games, like skins. Um, I don't play their games, but skins, like just microtransactions, maybe taunts and stuff like that. Um, but regardless of whether they made profit or not, they still decided to lay off 11% of the workforce. Um, and this is a huge apology letter from, who is this, the CEO of Riot Games, basically explaining the severance package and all that stuff. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but the gist of it is they laid off more than 500 people. But the good news is a lot of these people got very generous severance packages. I think I read that a lot of them got 6 months' pay. Now, this is a company that pays their employees, the market standard. So you're looking at $150,000 a year salaries to $250,000 a year. So, you divide that by half, and that's the severance package plus some bonuses. I also read that they were giving away laptops to the affected employees if they sign up for it. So, imagine getting like a $2,000 laptop and 6 months of pay after being laid off. As someone that was laid off, I didn't get any of that. I got a 2 week pay severance that was taxed. I had to return my laptop. I had to drive to UPS and return that shit. So, out of all the companies I wish I got laid off from, it would have been probably Riot Games. That being said, it sucks that these people got laid off. But I'm sure they're going to be a lot better than I was. Anyways, the next story is crazy because this isn't even a tech company, but yet L.A. Times, a media outlet, is laying off more than 100 people. Um, and apparently it's because they're not making a lot of money, but I feel like they haven't been making money for the last few years. But again, the layoffs are just when one company lays off people, every company decides to lay off people. So I guess this time LA Times was like, we're just gonna lay off a lot of fucking people. So that was a surprise. The other company is eBay. eBay is laying off 1,000 peoples, 1,000 people's 1,000 employees, which is 9% of the company. That is crazy. Um, Another company is Macy's. By the way, this is all recent, right? I'm not pulling out articles from like 2 weeks ago. This the oldest article. Excuse me, the oldest article is probably a week old. So this is all recent, but Macy's is cutting more than 2,300 jobs, which is about 4% of its workforce, and they're closing 5 stores. So I mean, this isn't a symptom of just overhiring. It's like during COVID, do you think Macy's just opened up too many stores, or was it that they actually weren't even open because of COVID? So this is not a symptom of overhiring and from COVID. This is something else. It's like we're going through a quiet recession. People aren't spending as much as they were before. The interest rates are higher, increasing. The economy is correcting itself. People don't have as much spending capacity as they did in 2020 and 2021. Bills are kicking back in. Student loans are kicking back in. People are spending more money on gas and expenses because they have to drive to work and work in the office, and that actually costs employees more money. So what you're seeing is um, a downward um, amount of spending when it comes to the economy. People are being more frugal, and they're trying to save a lot more and spend a lot less. So next company is TikTok. They cut 60 jobs this year so far, and again, you would assume TikTok is booming, right? But no, they're cutting jobs too. 60 isn't nearly as much as the other ones, but it's still a significant amount. Now, the last one I want to cover is Sports Illustrated, because this is probably the most out of nowhere, because they're basically almost going out of business. They're basically about to just shut down their entire um, company, because apparently they laid off most of their staff and they're not making any money. So, I mean, if they're laying off all of their staff, then who's going to work on their catalog and their magazine issues? So it's like this is just insane, you know. And again, Sports Illustrated is not a tech company. So what we're seeing here is tech companies are getting hit even worse than they were, but also non-tech companies are also getting hit with the layoffs. You're seeing retail stores close. Like, I mean, this is just a formula for what, these are just the symptoms of what a traditional recession looks like, right? Um, but regardless, I'm not a um, expert in economy. I'm not a economist. Economist, economist. I'm not an economist. Um, but whether we're in a recession or not, people are getting laid off. People are spending less money. Stores are closing down. Companies are closing down. Um, so, I mean, my opinion about all of this is 2024 is going to be wild. Um, I think a lot of people are going to get creative in how they work, in how they make money. I don't think, I think most people aren't just going to go to work anymore. They're going to work, they're going to start a side business. There's going to be side hustles. There's going to be a lot of there's going to be entrepreneur boom in 2024. I feel like, especially with AI, I think everyone's going to have like a Shopify store or something. And what's cool is it's possible if everyone has their own business online, everyone could just, it's going to be like the old days where people were just trading their own goods for other goods, right? I would trade you my custom pair of shoes for your whatever. I mean, we're still gonna use money, but I feel like we're gonna go back to those old ways where everyone had a specialty that they were good at, and we would just do commerce that way, where we're gonna start buying from each other. I'm gonna buy my shirts from this little small Etsy shop that gets, you know, 20,000 views a month, and that's my main source of shirts or whatever. I don't know. Maybe this is a dumb idea, but you know, I'm thinking out loud. All right, I know Target. You can't compete with Target. They sell $12 shirts. I get that. All my shirts are from Target, and like Etsy shops probably sell shirts for like 30 or 40. Okay, but I think there's a way where people are gonna start their own side business, and we're gonna come to a spot where there's gonna be a lot of thriving businesses that are very small, and it's gonna allow people to not have to survive off of like a company. Um, I don't know. That's my opinion. Economy's going to be really uncertain and strange. People are getting laid off. There's going to be a boom in the entrepreneurship space this year. Um, I know that's something I'm looking into. But yeah, I think this year a lot of people are going to lose money, but a lot of people are going to make a lot of money. And I think it's important to prepare yourself to try and be on the side that makes a lot of money. Um, how you're gonna do that, I don't know. I wish I had the answers. Um, but yeah, it's gonna be insane, and I'm sure we're gonna see more of these headlines soon. I hope eventually we're gonna see headlines where companies are making a lot of money and salaries are increasing, but the way things are looking, I don't know.